Hello, people. So what I'm going to say here is going to be on the interesting side, okay? So this is a further from MITI Conscience, okay? And this has reference to, I'm just beginning to put perspective to a problem. Yeah. So I'm just going to tell it simply. Yeah, because you got some work to do. So I'm just, all right. In the previous video, I spoke about MITI Conscience. And I also, that's the first one. Second one, I spoke about time in 4 timelines. Like when I'm sitting in the living room, that's a space. When I'm in the kitchen, that's a different space. And that space is relative to time in a different timeline, time, space, fabric. Yeah. My thought lines could be moving from thoughts in my mind as a child, thinking about from the kitchen space versus the living room space. That's another time space fabric. Another one is where I'm visualizing. For example, I'm thinking, I'm having a dream. I could be even sleeping. And I'm imagining from a room space, which may be from a space that I know of, or it may be even imagined, or it could be from a friend's room space. Yeah, different space. But that's another time space fabric, different. It's more the unconscious. Thought lines being the conscious, and the actual physical room building that you find yourself in being a different time space fabric relative to each other. The fourth one being the unconscious or the supraconscious, where you have an idea, don't know from where it's coming from, and you are in a space, no idea if you've been there, you had an experience, but it seems so real. But it may be from a past lifetime or past several other lifetimes. You've had the same experience through several lifetimes, but you have no traceable ways to find that. Yeah. So supraconscious, that's again another time space fabric, and they are relative to the others. And according to the gravitas of the matter, of what you're thinking about, why you're thinking about it, different things. That having been said, today I discovered this is related to the book that I'm kind of in different stages of writing, tentatively that I've called as Who's in My Room, that bounces off of another book, which is already published by Dr. Ivan Meisner and Mr. Stuart Emery, and many people. And that book's called Who's in Your Room? And what I'm about to say is related to both of this. Okay? The Sri Chakra has, I will show it to you a little bit. No, that's not going to make much sense. Now, the Brahmanic ways of thinking, the Brahmanic tradition has this idea of 8 gotras. The Sri Chakra has an 8 triangle circle. Yeah, in the center there is one triangle, and then there's an 8 triangle circle, the center. And then there is a 10 triangle circle, then another 10 triangle circle, and then there's a 14 triangle circle. I'm referring to the 8 triangle circle. Now, if you consider each of those triangles not as having 3 points each, but as each of those triangles being a point. Yeah, bear with me here. It's like a space. So this idea of triangle, square, and circle. In Aikido, there are several practices where they refer to this triangle, square, and circle. And if you consider that one circle is like one circle of sacred geometry. Yeah, so we have many circles here. And Sri Chakra, when you're drawing it, you would have to draw many circles for the triangles to make logical sense. Now, this 8 triangles are, if we consider them as 8 gotras, yeah, we have this idea of Ashtadigbandhana. We have this idea of Ashtanga Yoga. We have this idea of many things, yeah, Ashtalakshmi, Ashtalagna, Ashta Mangalya. Okay. Ashta, we got lots of eight. Eight path, eightfold path, many, many things. What I discovered today is that each of this is 8 kinds of math. Yeah. And people, for example, the Panchanga may be referring to one of the math. The Ashtanga Yoga is referring to another math. Okay. And then there is my ways of thinking in terms of health is from the Nirti. Yeah. Nirti is another math. It's a health math. Yeah. And MITI Conscience forms from the health math. Okay. Yama, I'm going to refer this by the Ashtadigbandhana. Yeah. So I'm talking Nirti, Yama, different math. There is Agni, different math. Agni was cursed, because of which the elephant is said to have had a twisted tongue, because Agni took refuge in the elephant's tongue. And so there is this mythological story referring to it. And the curse needs to be turned, which is when speech, truth, and all that. So it's kind of this area, which is also why the stock market has been crashing every now and then. So who's in your room is referring to the Agni. Yeah. So dripping in drama and all of that. So there are many networking circles and how they're functioning, how business is functioning, stock market crashing, because that is referring to a certain math, which is different from the Panchanga, which is different from the Ashtanga Yoga. You're talking about 8 kinds of math. Okay. But once you're able to see the problem in perspective, it becomes easier for us to see this is why there have been entanglements. Yeah. And there have been a difficulty in detangling and then having a healthy economy. Yeah. Such that things are not crashing. We're not falling into sickness. We're not falling into wisdom concerns. 8 kinds of math. I'll leave us all with this thought, because further updates to come. I've been telling you, like, every day, every hour, there's one or the other thing updating MITI Conscience. So I'm speaking from the Nirti, the math that's there, that is now formed MITI Conscience. Yeah. And health has been quite the subject matter for several concerns. So I'm working on the health of health, health of wealth, health of wisdom. We begin somewhere. So when we are working on health, health then helps to improve the health of the other math. Panchanga Veda, for example, people have been also calculating. So that's Panchanga Veda is referring of the Ishana. You know, the in Ashtadigbandhana, the Ishana, the goals, what you like to do. So they calculate in terms of the Rahu Kala and all those things for when's the right time, a good auspicious time to start something, because that's referring to the Ishana, the direction in which you can go. Okay. Now I was thinking that math is also true, but why is there like a difference in the math that I'm finding? They're related, but why is that so? I participated in a puja, in a Ganapati, the Ganesha Chaturthi that was there. Then I was thinking they are actually following a math. And I was thinking, so there is a link here, but I wasn't able to quite figure out what. Now I discovered there are 8 maths. Yeah. So I'm working on the health math. Okay, I'm calling it also the math of faith. And love heals wounds over time. So love hasn't been able to be understood. And I discovered love is also the somaras. When the metabolism is completely like absolute metabolism, then it's like Durga. Durga leaves no trace. Yeah, because everything is completely digested, such that there is no trace. Even the light is digested, such that it seems like Vanta black, clear. Yeah. So no trace. And that's the space through which Durga, it's like there's a doorway which leaves no trace, and then you're traveling tracelessly. Yeah. So it's different. So that heals the fabric of time space seamlessly, yeah, without even having a needle to, that there was a repair happened so seamlessly that there is no trace of what happened. Yeah, what problem? No problem. Yeah, because there is nothing to say, except that there are some things which are not quite matching. How it's in Harry Potter series, Hermione Granger erases a memory in the photo lines, in the photo. And then her parent just, there, it looks like there's somebody here. There's still some trace there. So I've been healing the fabric of time space. And then there are related things sometimes kind of showing up as it's like we've gone back 50 years. So there are things happening and still there is some things here. So one of the things I figured out, there's 8 math. Yeah. So as I'm speaking it, the complementary then are able to then work things together. And then there is coordinate Ashtanga yoga. Yeah. But I'm also speaking from there already having been found a solution for it. Yeah. That the system is stable enough that I can speak it. And I am to speak it so that we get our math together without destabilizing the system. So I've been saying this, I've been working on this since some time, that the system has stabilized and found a way to maintain the stability. So, and I'm to speak it so that we all can then work through details and then live in life in the multiverse. We've got to do work on that math. So I'm speaking from what it takes for us to further stabilize, yeah, to come to a better economy. Now, have I said everything that I need to be said? I've said about Ishana, yeah. I've said about mighty math. Okay, so since we haven't been working on conscience, and I'm speaking about conscience from the health perspective, I will make further updates. Now, this is one of the updates. As you're following through and you're working on your own conscience, we have a certain example from which to go. And then we make small adjustments and then arrive at what would be, okay. I just remembered what I was trying to say. In Ishana, the Panchanga Veda, people have been calculating from Saptarishis. When we say from that perspective, so if you look at like a sphere and different people are looking at it from different angles, this is not 6 blind men and the elephant, this is 8. In that math, Brahmanic math, you're talking about Saptarishis. I was looking about the Gotras. I found Saptarishis plus Agastya, which means there is 8. And Agastya was related with metabolism because he was able to digest 2 asuras, yeah, which are 2 forms of, say, anabolism and catabolism. If what is emerging, the food that you're eating, if you're not completely digesting it, something is remaining and that causes toxicity. Yeah, ajirna bhojanam visham. So that remains and then causes toxicity. And toxicity could kill you. Yeah. The other is what you're eating then emerges, anabolism, what is then getting produced could have toxins, could be not so conducive to what's for the body. And that what is emerging would need to be conducive for the body. Otherwise, it could kill you. Yeah. So Agastya metabolizes both anabolism and catabolism such that it's complete digestion. The asuras didn't kill him. So that's the idea. So metabolism, so that's Saptarishis plus Agastya. So it's actually 8. The calculations have been done from 7, which is why we have 27 constellations. And we talk in terms of Panchanga, they talk in terms of 27, or Vastu Shastra. Vastu Shastra is different, or it's coming from the Panchanga, it's all related. They are calculating in terms of 27 constellation, but it actually should be 28. When we take in account the 8, not just the 7. Now, how did I arrive at that? When 8, the 27 is coming from aha. That's why they talk in terms of ahankara. Yeah, you should bring, curb your ego, drop the identity. Yeah, there are those kinds of thought lines because it is coming from not knowing that it requires There is and aha. So when there is ahankara, we don't know what it takes to keep that there. That's why they call it as ambalam. Like temple, there is we have temples, yeah, and that the human is not seen as the sanctum sanctorum, the temple of the human body. There is the Chidambaram, there are several temples, but the human hasn't been able to be seen as the temple, which means for which we will need to think in terms of And there's complete digestion, then there's nice wadu, yeah? So Agastya is not included, that metabolism, because of insufficient metabolism, lifestyle diseases has been there. India has been doing yoga, but didn't, and still we have a little difficulty because of this complete metabolism that needs to be there, yeah? And which is why universities, we've had several kinds of strifes from not knowing this part, yeah, because it was not that time. There's a Kala Dharma. So there have been several Yuga chakras. So there have been clashes between heaven and hell, yeah, different ways of thinking. Then between tribes, then within the family, like the Kurukshetra was between cousins. And then they're talking in terms of Kali Yuga, where the strife should have been within the human, but we didn't quite come to the strife being within the human. So we've come to Hatha Yoga. There have been those thought lines, but something has been missing. We haven't been able to see time and perspective. Yeah. Since a great unconformity, which may also, I think they've been relating it to the great dying. Yeah. Maybe it was one of the big bangs, one of the mass extinction events may have been what was showing up as a great unconformity. I'm guessing, I'm suspecting that. If so, then the ideas such as the Kantara, mighty spirits, different, for example, the pandemic may have been different levels of, say, violence, which has caused trouble earlier, such that the great spirits are watching out for developments on Earth since the Great Dying, and because of which lockdowns were happening, there was lots of death. So to contain the virus and different microbes there, so by intelligent design. Then I happened to start my work sometime back, and I happened to be thinking these lines. So I happened to be doing work, and so the great spirits have had no lesser reason, yeah, to cause mass extinction, death kind. So I'm now to speak. And I saw this video about octopuses becoming quite intelligent. And I've had the sense that life has been looking for alternative ways. If humans are not going to show up, then others. And I thought it is, that's another sign when I saw that video that I'm to speak up. And humans then start functioning more conducive to healing the fabric of time space, because it's possible from, like a tree converting carbon dioxide to life and living substance. It's been called as photosynthesis and chemosynthesis and many things. So metabolism, healthier metabolism, involves several processes, which I've been putting together and calling it as healthier natural breathing, healthier metabolism, healthier samudra manthan, healthier vidyabhyasa. So these are all the different terms that I've been saying to represent the same idea of healthier metabolism, of a human body being able to convert sukha dukkha into life and living substance. And when human beings are functioning as what is there within the design of a human body make, then life and living in the multiverse. So we are not just going to be on Earth, but we would see life showing up in other planets without us having to go there. Yeah. So that can be traced. So I'm talking here in terms of signs of life. So over several cycles of me talking about it, making my work, thinking about it, working from MITI Conscience, I've also come up with this. There are 8 maths here. And I've been talking in terms of MITI Conscience. So that's in terms of health. So health of health, health of wealth, health of wisdom. And then I'm talking about when we are functioning from a conglomerate science, conscience. There are different math also, but when we can coordinate, then we can turn around things for life, while there is Andromeda Galaxy in different stages of merging with Milky Way Galaxy, we will turn things around for the better. And one of the reasons for that is we turn around, we go beyond death as the deadliest disease there has been. Yama has also been called the Dharmaraja, kind of, yeah, or a lot of death. But Yama is also part of the Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Pratyahara, so that way. So there have been reference to it, but we haven't been able to see how one part of math is related with other part of math. How is the Ashtanga Yoga? Yeah. So that takes a little bit of work. So I'm also calling it as dynamic stillnesses because they're all very finely related. So there's a Japanese idea of the canonical 6 basics. So we start from the basics. So I have mighty basics. And then come to now 8. 1-8 is a start and those kinds of things. So, we begin from the basics. So I invite you to sign up on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com. And from there, we'll be able to then, I'm putting up content there, so you'll be able to read them. I'm also working on Excel. So then you'll be able to track the changes and we can all come to coordinated idea developments. And I will keep updating, so you would know what's happening from MITI as an enterprise. So thank you so much for your kind interest. Good day.